In this video, I'll show you how to solve linear equations from a very simple problem to a little complicated problem. So the first problem that we want to see here is a 2x minus 8 equals 0. Now to solve this problem, I need to isolate the variable x on one side, which means I have to get rid of the 8 and the number 2. Now to get rid of the number -8 here, always do the inverse of what you see. So to make that 0, I added 8. Not just to one side, to both of the sides for equality reason. Now this cancels. The 2x, we bring it down, equals 0 plus 8 is 8. Now the inverse of multiplication is division. You divide by 2 and you divide this by 2 as well. So that simplifies into x equals the number 4. So a very simple problem would be something like this. Problem 2, very identical to this problem, is the following. A -5x plus 3 equals 23. Now for this problem, we're going to get rid of the 3 first by doing the inverse. So subtract 3 to both sides and add straight down. That cancels out. 5x, the -5x kind of bring it down, and then 23 plus -3 is 20. Inverse of multiplication, divide by a -5, divide by a -5, which gives you a result of 20 divided by a -5 is a -4. For problem number 3, let's look at 4 times x minus 8 in parentheses equals x. In this case, we have the variable x on both sides. So how do we solve this? Well, first thing is first, we're going to distribute the 4 to both terms in the parentheses. 4 times x, to 4x, 4 times -8 is a -32, which equals the variable x. Next step, have the x variables on the same side. So that means we're going to take the 4x to the opposite side by doing the inverse operation. Cross this out. -32 equals a -3x. Next step would be to do the inverse of multiplication, which is dividing by a -3. And that gives you a result of x equals a negative divided by a negative is positive. And that I'll just leave it at 32/3. And of course you can simplify it into decimal form if you want. For problem number 4, we'll look at similar problem to 3. 2 parentheses 1 minus 3x plus 1 equals 3x. Now for this one, we're gonna distribute the 2 first. 2 times 1 and 2 times -3x. Well, 2 times 1 is 2, minus 2 times 3 is 6, so you get 6x plus 1 equals 3x. Next, combine the like terms. 2 plus 1 makes a 3, minus 6x equals 3x. Now have the x's on the same side, meaning take the 6x to the opposite side by doing the inverse operation. This cancels. We have a 3 equals 9x. Inverse of multiplication is division, so divide by the number 9, divide by the number 9. X equals, this right here simplifies into 1/3. Alright, let's look at problem number 5. What if we have fractions? How do we take care of those? So for number 5, we'll look at 2/7 x plus 1/5 equals 4/7. Now for this case, I don't like fractions, so the first thing that I like to do is change the fractions into whole numbers. In order to do that, we need to find the LCD of the bottom numbers, the least common denominator. The numbers 7, 5, and 7, they all go into 35, which means let's make the bottom numbers 35, and then we'll see what to do after that. So 7 goes into 35 5 times, multiply the top and the bottom by 5. 5 goes into 35 7 times, top and bottom by 7, top and bottom by 5 here. And we get 10 over 35 x plus 7 over 35 equals 20 over 35. Now, because all the terms are being divided by 35, we can either multiply everything by 35 and get rid of the bottom numbers, or just automatically drop the bottom numbers. As long as they are all equal numbers at the bottom, you can drop them. And look at what you have left over. 10x plus 7 equals 20, which is a very simple problem. Now in this case, inverse of addition is subtraction. So subtract by 7, subtract by 7, and add straight down. 10x, bring it down, equals 20 plus negative 7 is 13. Last step would be to divide by 10. Divide this by 10. That gives you x equals 13 over 10, or you can say 1.3. Either one of those numbers should be a solution. Problem 6. We'll do problem 6 right here. So for that problem, we'll look at 3x minus 1 divided by 5 minus the number 2 equals 2 minus x divided by 3. Now, bottom numbers. Well, the 2, first of all, can be written as 2 over 1. So we're looking at 5, 1, and 3. Those three numbers go into the number 15. So that means make the bottom numbers 15. I'll multiply the first by 3, top and bottom. Multiply this by 15, top and bottom, and multiply this by 5, top and bottom, which simplifies into 3 parentheses 3x minus 1 divided by 15 minus 30 over 15 equals, I'll bring the 5 up front, now to get rid of the denominator number, just multiply everything by 15 and cross out the 15s, or as long as the bottom numbers are the same, you can just drop them. And then look at the top. 3 times 3x, that makes a 9x. 3 times negative 1 is a negative 3. And then we have a minus 30 here, equals 5 times 2 is 10, minus 5 times x is 5x. Okay. Next step is combine the like terms if you have. So in this case I have the -3 plus the -30 as my like terms, and that makes a -33 equals 10 minus 5x. Alright, let's continue. Now we want to have the ones with an x on the same side, so I'll move the 5x over to the left by doing the opposite operation, and move the -33 over to the right by doing the opposite operation, and then add straight down. This cancels, that cancels, this gives you 14x equals 10 plus 33 is 43. Divide by 14, divide by 14, answer is x equals that fraction 43 over 14. And again, you can simplify this if you want using a calculator. You can divide it.